In this video, we'll explore how to add sermons to our website. If you consider yourself to be an advanced user, then please bear with me as I explain each detail as basic as possible. To begin, let's click the Sermons menu. And here we see that currently no sermons have been added, but we see a form here that will list the sermons that'll be uploaded. And we have title, which obviously displays the title of the sermon. Preachers, which displays the preacher or preachers that delivered the sermon. And then we have this little icon here. And if I hover over it, we'll see where it says comments. Now this is where you'll see the number of comments that website visitors have made about a specific sermon. And if you haven't watched our video about comments, then I would highly recommend that lesson because this will give you a complete overview of comments and how they're processed through the website. And last we have date, and this shows the date that the sermon was delivered. Okay, why don't we go ahead and add a new sermon. So I'll click the Add New button. And let's give this sermon a title. I'll put that'll work. Okay, and if you've watched our previous videos about adding images, then you should recognize the Add Media button. But for adding sermon audio, we don't want to use this button. So instead, we just need to give the sermon a description in the area below. So I've already typed out a description for the sake of time, so I'll just paste it here. Okay. Now let's move over to the top right of the screen and let's set a very important property in the Publish box. And there's some other buttons and links here, but the most important property is the Publish property. This allows us to set the date. So I'll click Edit. And let's say that this sermon was delivered last Sunday, for example. So that would be, let's see, the 22nd. So I'll go 22nd. And on the right, we have the time of day. Now, this is specified in UTC time or a 24-hour format. So if the sermon was delivered at 6 p.m., then I would need to set that hour value to 18. And this is because the 24-hour format obviously doesn't reset after 12 p.m. or the noon hour. Instead, it continues to increase throughout the day all the way to hour 24, or what we would refer to as midnight. So I'll set this at 18 and click OK. Next, we need to specify the preacher who delivered the sermon. So I'll go down here and I'll enter John Doe, click Add, and we see it listed here. Okay, let's move down to the featured image meta box. And if you haven't watched the video about featured images, then I would highly recommend doing this. But in a nutshell, this allows you to set the cover image for this sermon. And most commonly, this would be a photo of the preacher that delivered the sermon. And you certainly don't have to specify a featured image. And if it's left empty, as it is now, then a default featured image of a Bible or something like that will be used on the front of your website. Okay, last but certainly not least is this area on the bottom left. This is where you'll upload the actual MP3 file of your sermon. So I'll click the Add Sermon MP3 button. And we'll make sure that the Upload Files tab is selected, which it is. And before I click on the Select Files button to open up the window on my computer, let me make an important note here about audio, and specifically editing audio. I've had clients in the past to ask me, where do I edit my audio after I've uploaded it? where on the website do I edit audio? Well, audio is an incredibly complex file. It's very large and it's very complex. So you can't edit your audio once you've uploaded it to the website. You need to do your editing before you do your upload. And if you don't have a resource to do this, then you can download a free program called Audacity. Now, if you haven't heard of Audacity, all you have to do is go to the website, which is audacityteam.org. Okay, so we see here on the home page that Audacity is free, open source, cross-platform software for recording and editing sounds. Now, cross-platform just means that it's available for Windows users and it's available for Mac users. And the scope of Audacity is really too large for this video, but there's plenty of help files to guide you in downloading this and editing the audio on your computer. So just feel free to look around Audacity's website, and I'm sure you'll find plenty of resources to help you in using this. But I wanted you to be aware that this free resource does exist. Okay, let's close this and let's click the Select Files button. And I have a sample MP3 file here, so I'll just select it and I'll click Open to start the upload. Okay. And then I'll click Add Sermon MP3. Okay. Now, below this, we see the button that says Add OGG file. Now, as you can see from the description, this is recommended because certain web browsers don't support the popular MP3 format, and this is not required, but you may get an email from a few users that say, hey, I can't listen to your sermons or whatnot. And if you don't have the alternate OGG file uploaded, now this would probably be the reason why they're saying they can't listen to your sermons. Again, it's not required, but recommended for including everybody. Okay, let's go back up and let's click the Publish button. And let's go to the front of the website and click the Sermons page. Now, I'm sure that your website is probably laid out much differently than this simple website. Let's click on this. Okay, now we're seeing the summary information about the sermon, and you see that default featured image there on the left. So if I click on the sermon title, okay, now that we're into the sermon, we see the player here, and the website visitor can click play to listen to this sermon, or they can click the download link to download this sermon to their computer or their mobile device. Okay, let me explain another feature that you may not be aware of. You can have live streaming audio on your website, and this is provided by a service called Mixlr. And Mixlr offers a free hour of audio streaming on your website. Now, they do have paid options as well, where you can stream longer times on your website. You can stream for a longer time, but they do offer a free hour of live streaming. And if you don't have live streaming audio on your website and you would like this feature, then feel free to shoot us an email and we can discuss the options that you have. Live streaming is a great way to offer that real-time experience for your website visitors. So I hope that makes sense to you. We've covered quite a bit of material here in this video. If you need to go back and re-watch this, then feel free to do so. But if you're up to speed with what we've covered here, then pat yourself on the back and thanks for watching.